Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to season 2 of TD Markets podcast, episode 1. We are officially live in our second season / second year of the podcast.
Yes, sir.
We did a year in review in our last episode.
Yeah, last episode, 100%.
Now, a year in advance.
Yeah. That's what we did as well.
We kind of spoke a bit about what to look out for this year. Discussed a lot about interest rates, big focal point of the year.
Yeah.
And on a side note, you are joined by myself, Zander, my esteemed colleague, Seppo, and my not so esteemed colleague, Julian. Very esteemed colleague, Julian.
Yes, sir.
Glad to be back.
Glad to be back.
It's a fresh year, new start, new goals, new
Yeah.
profits for the year.
100%.
Very much looking forward to the year forward.
Yeah, same here, man. You mentioned something very important, new goals. I think there's a lot of things we're going to talk about. Pretty excited for this year. I think it's going to be a great year, all around. I think it's going to be a great year. All right.
I would second that 100%.
100%. Looking at how the markets are shaping right now. A bit of my favorite pairs, we're going to talk about that as well later on. But yeah, I think it's going to be a great year.
Definitely.
Yes, sir.
2023.
Yes, sir.
Talking about great year, we had a kickoff with 2 news events for the year.
Yeah. So NFP, CPI. NFP was, I think, the first week of Jan. Yeah. CPI this week. And when I first recap on the NFP, what you saw there.
Biggest shocker was sort of that unemployment figure, dropping down like 0.2% from 3.7 to 3.5.
Yeah.
That was the biggest shocker out of all of it, and we saw a bit more dollar weakness coming to the market. In general speaking, that should mean more dollar strength.
Yeah.
But unfortunately,
So
we
we
saw
got the
more
opposite.
dollar weakness. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that has been, for the most part of last year, we saw those opposite movements,
Like a lot of what's happening at the moment is very much investors and institutions. Like the better the data comes out, you should expect dollar strength coming into the markets, but
Yeah.
this is just motivation for cutting. And I think that's where all the focus is at the moment. So like, as much as Julian has mentioned before, Fed very much like saying there's no tapering taking place this year.
Yeah.
I think investors are very much betting against it.
Don't you think, if you look at it with a different maybe view, don't you think seeing these opposite movements that are happening, don't you think the market is setting up for a better price? At some point, everything will be priced in and get the dollar strength coming into the market. Maybe that's something you could, what do you think?
No.
I think like I said yesterday to another client, I think what we're starting to see now is a slow and painful death of the dollar that will carry out throughout this year.
Yeah, I think that parity was short-lived.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, because from a general perspective, once they, and it all depends on where they hit their peak of their interest rates, which they might have. I doubt that they have. I think we might still see some interest rate movements coming into the markets. We're sitting on how much at the moment?
I think there's now currently 4.5, yeah.
4.5. I think we'll hit 5/5.5.
Maybe, yeah. I think they're definitely going to cool down the size of the hikes. I think maybe looking at a 25 basis point for the next one rather than a 50. I mean, the last one we got was a 50, right?
50.
So, I mean, cutting back from the 50 to 25, maybe for 2 more meetings, and then pause. Not necessarily cut, but pause, and then maybe inflation drops so heavy that they start cutting back. Because now they're sitting with the problem with, and the inflation is declining pretty quickly right now. And if they're going to come to a point where the interest rates are now going to start doing too much, now they're sitting with a problem of they need to know exactly when they need to start pausing and exactly when they need to start cutting, because the interest rates hikes could do more harm than what the inflation did, 100%.
Yeah, I spoke about that a bit yesterday during the CPI stream. It's like when they might seriously get to a point when something's too much. And as much as we know that the Fed tends to be more dovish, It's going to be like the point of where they start cutting is going to be the hawkish part, and I think they need to address that sooner rather than later. They have been increasing the interest rates so aggressively over the past year. It's not even been a year, it's been like 8 months.
Few months, yeah.
So aggressively that it's putting so much pressure on consumers itself and institutions and anyone using financing methods to generate business. It's been putting so much pressure on that, and I can just see that sort of correlation coming now where if they hold it too long, it's going to do more harm than good.
Exactly. And I feel like investors now more than ever for the next coming FOMCs, the minutes that come out, the press conferences, pay very, very, very close attention to what Powell says. Because like we know, he likes the spoon fed. So at some point he will start talking about, we do feel that it will become appropriate to pause, or it will become appropriate to cut, or whatever the case may be. But I mean, dropping this high inflation like we spoke about last year, these numbers starting to drop off, them sitting on more solid, like lower CPI numbers coming in is happening just as fast as the inflation picked up. I mean, we've went from what is it, nine point whatever down to 6.5 in 3 months.
Yeah. So what you guys saying makes sense, and it's because of how the CPI, the inflation data, looks right now. I think for the first quarter of the year, I think they are going to focus on that CPI inflation print for them to maybe pause or ease on the interest rate hikes. I think we can still expect like a slow interest rate hike, but the focus will be on how January, February, and March will be in terms of the inflation for them to now be comfortable with maybe stopping or pausing, slowing, with interest rates.
I think that mark's going to be after April. I think that inflation print on April for last year was 1.2%, if not higher. I think that's the last big figure that needs to drop off. Like once that is off, you're going to see April. So possibly, like I would think they would start like decreasing rates from about June. I'm sticking to that June figure.
Decreasing or pausing?
Decreasing.
Okay. Interesting.
I would definitely, because the thing is, at the moment, if they start pausing from that point forward, it's going to do more harm than good. So I'm thinking June, July, there should be a Fed meeting in and around that time.
Yeah.
So at the time, obviously, we'll be above 5% interest rates.
Yeah. We should be like 5.5-ish, I would suspect. And that's when I would think that start slowly tapering. I think they'll possibly start pausing from 2 more meetings.
Yeah, well, the next one is going to be 30 January, 1st of February. The one after that is going to be 10 or 12
halfway
March.
through March,
Yeah, and then you'll have the one in April, end April.
Yeah.
In
I think
April,
after
so
March they'll start pausing and possibly cutting in July.
Yeah, I think the big debate is around that inflation CPI, interest rates data. All right, not forgetting also the NFP.
And
the
cut
labor
size,
data.
what are you guys betting on? First cut's going to be 50,
Yeah, I was
100?
It'll depend where
I would
the
love
interest
to
rate
see
will
100. It's going to cause
Imagine.
havoc.
Yes.
Cause havoc in
And
the
we
market.
need some havoc.
And here's the thing, like it's. Do you think that's going to cause positivity or negativity? The dollar strength or dollar weakness if they cut 100?
Dollar weakness.
You think?
Yes, 100%.
You don't think the market's going to see that as a positive?
No, I don't think so. I think it's going to not be a high yielding currency anymore, where other currencies are going to be much more attractive. And I mean, we're already seeing the transition from bond markets back into equity.
I'm not disagreeing with you there, but like it depends on how the market sees it, and that's the interesting thing I want to see, is because we saw recently, like a lot with the last when they started increasing interest rates, we saw dollar weakness coming to the markets, which doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah.
But do you think like we might not see like dollar strength, seeing as it's seen as a more positive thing to start like bringing growth and inflation back to normality?
I think dollar strength will be there, but not immediately. I think we might, maybe in 3-4 months, then we might see that dollar strength. Because as you're saying right now, we've seen the opposite movements as compared to what we anticipated. It will be there, but not immediately. Everything has to be priced in, right? for us to get that movement. So, but yeah, it will be interesting to see how the markets will react to it, predicting some huge movements coming from that.
Yeah, those cuts are going to cause huge movements in the markets.
Huge
And
movements.
to be more frank, it's going to cause more sustainable long-term movements in the markets.
Yeah,
Interest
I think
rates.
that's what we want.
Interest rates is like a nice little indication. Indication of that sort of a trend that we want to follow, and I'm very excited to see what it's going to cause.
We've got a lot of things against the dollar right now. I mean, you know, and I watched a very interesting thing the other night on an entire explanation about how this has been happening for quite some while, and we're actually part of it because we are part of BRICS. But other countries, especially now throughout the war, the trade war with China and the States, everything, a lot of countries have started to realize that they need to not be dollar dependent. For instance, we've got the Chinese buying oil now in their currencies instead of buying in the dollar, just to show that we don't have to use the dollar. We've got the same thing that Putin did, saying if you want anything from me, you're purchasing it with my currency. You're not using the dollar anymore, you're not using anything else, you're using the ruble. And I think a lot of countries are going to start to realize that America has such a grip over financial workings on a global scale that if anything, and they're so, how can I say, woke, you know, they you just you just do something. They're very human rights focused. So these countries have realized, unfortunately, these are countries that still have very terrible human rights. But they've realized that if they want to do things that they want to do, run things the way they want to run it, they need their currencies to be stronger. And we're going to see a lot of this cutting off of the dollar happening. I mean, the BRICS right now is developing a basket currency. And they're talking about this is going to be the most valuable currency that there is going to be. Every country is going to need this currency, and our currency is going to be coupled to that. So I just feel like there's so much going against the dollar, including their possible heavy recession that they're going to go into, and everything else that goes along with the rate cuts, that for the most part of this year, I think we will see weakness on this dollar.
Yeah, and looking at the charts right now, looking at how Euro USD is moving right now, I could see those upside movements coming in with what you're saying right now. And looking at how gold is looking, indices there and there, but looking at how gold is looking, how Euro USD is looking, I think from a technical point of view, Euro or dollar weakness, it looks more than likely. All right, we are gonna take a look at the charts in a few. But yeah, so very important points that we've discussed, gentlemen. I hope you guys got that. You know, it's going to be very important throughout the year that you look at these points. Some things are going to come up during the course of the year, right? But if you have a solid foundation, then you know whatever comes up, you know that there's a bigger picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to have conflict between China and the States, 100%. They are so focused on taking over. What are they busy fighting over now? The Asian country they're invading, want to take it back. Vietnam. No, not Vietnam.
Something that's Taiwan.
Taiwan. They are closing in, and we're seeing the same sort of thing, kind of what Putin did. You know, military exercises, blah blah blah, on the borders in the ocean and so on. So, and Americans see this as a human rights violation, and they've already said we're going to stand up to this. So we're going to have that conflict as well. 100% guaranteed we'll have that conflict as well. And then there's possible recession.
Speaking of conflict, anything on the war? I saw in December there are attacks. I think on the 31st of December there are a few attacks there. Anything recently?
I haven't really looked at the war, because I don't want to constantly sit and look at how that's developing, but I think at the end of the day Putin needs to start cutting his losses and just leave Ukraine alone. But he's a very stubborn guy, and I think he will continue to try and take over Ukraine, and I feel like the rest of the world has supported so much on Facebook and Instagram and so on, that doesn't help them in any way. sending a
How
couple.
you said like the world supports on Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah, but that is what they do. Like everybody's posting, everybody's doing all these things, but he continuously keeps saying, "I need weapons, I need ammunition," and like $1 billion worth of ammunition and weapons. People think that's a lot. It's not a lot. These things are very, very, very expensive.
Yeah.
So I honestly don't know what the state of the war is. I'll quickly see if we can get a short catch up on what's happening there.
I think from a market perspective, the war's very much fallen off the
Yeah.
radar. I don't think there's a lot of the market participants sort of caring much, especially from a war perspective. The focus has very much shifted from the war. It had like a good couple of months, and then there wasn't really, and I said this before, like the big thing for the markets and war is going to be like if there's another party getting involved, if the US is getting involved and actually like intervening. Nothing really happened. Everyone was just kind of sitting in the sidelines, and it was Ukraine versus Russia, and it was like a boxing match which everyone was sitting and watching and not really intervening with. So it's just a lot of cheers and boos and not really anything else other than that.
Yeah. Right now they're still fighting. It seems Russia has taken over another town. It's terrible. It's a horrible thing, and the rest of the world sitting and watching this happen, not really being able to do a lot because Russia has their finger in a few pies. And, us being, I would have loved to see our government do something about it as well. But I would think that makes sense looking at our history and what we've overcome and everything that that human rights would be something that's extremely important to us. But unfortunately, we're tied to Russia through the BRICS agreement, and we can't do anything. Our government can't do anything. So I feel then that's the same with India. That's the same with Brazil. I think we're about 11 countries right now part of BRICS. So no, there's quite a few right now.
Brazil, Russia, South Africa.
That's the
India.
4 big ones.
China.
Yeah, China. BRICS countries. We've got a few that keep joining. And we've got now as well Saudi Arabia, Turkey, Egypt, and Afghanistan wanting to join BRICS. Quickly see here for you.
So the acronym's going to get longer here?
Very. No, I think they'll most likely keep it. Here we go. No, it's still just, that's the wrong one.
Yeah, let's talk about something more positive.
So wrapping up on the dollar quickly. So upcoming events, looking at the next FOMC meeting is going to be very important. We do have, I think, NFP on the same week. And CPI, I think 2 weeks later then.
Yeah, I think the next FOMC is going to be like vital for us as well. First FOMC of the year. I'm really looking forward to actually see what's going to happen, what's the Fed going to say, what's Powell going to hint at or diverge from.
Most likely diverge from.
Yeah, most likely diverge from. But interesting to see what their point of view is. And more than likely they're going to do a flip 180 sometimes during the course of the year. I do see that very much happening, that they just flip on what they're actually saying and what they want to do. So very, very much interested to that. And I think that's going to be like the next bigger event that we're going to see for the year so far.
We are going to do a stream on that as always. Do keep an eye on our social media platforms. You wanted something positive? Was there something positive?
No, we still have time. We can't talk about that just yet.
Do you guys want to go through the charts?
Let's look at some charts. Just want to touch on gold quickly.
Everything's overextended. Weird. Weird.
That's very true. Like gold seems very much overextended. Had a really nice push. We spoke about that 1900 mark. Went to 1910. There's a really big resistance on 1910. It was a big level that it struggled to actually break. Yeah, right about there.
Yeah.
They struggled to break after that first initial push. Held it, came back down, broke it, tested it a couple of times. So that's a big level for it. And I am hoping that this is the level it rejects from. Come back down for a really nice retracement back to like that 1830 mark, and then taking it back up.
So to start a counter trend move before continuing this up move.
Well, we can see it in the charts. That's due like a nice retracement.
That's the exhaustion has to come in at some point. I mean, that's week on week on week on week. We're sitting 5 weeks of upwards.
That's
movement.
not 5 weeks. That's about 12 weeks.
Well, if we're just looking at consecutive, because we had a little bit of few retracements and exhaustion and consolidation happening there, but after that it's been 5 weeks of consecutive upwards movement, and we're so overextended, so out of the structure, so far away from any sort of averages, trend, everything. It just makes sense to me. We need to come down here for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, from a market behavior, market structure point of view, that makes sense, right? I'm looking at the stochastic, it's overbought, it's overextended. We need to get the counter trend move to get a nice buying a price, and then take it up there. This is my focus for this year. I think if we can get that retracement, then I think this is going back to 2000. Around this level, right there on the weekly time frame, around this level. That's what I'm anticipating.
Yeah.
Right. So gold will be one of the nice movers for this year. I was looking at Bitcoin earlier on.
Oh, please don't.
Let's just have a look at this move.
Oh yeah. That's it. That's it at bottom. It's on the way up now.
Yeah.
Just buy the dip.
Yeah. So we're getting some. Strength coming in.
But that's the same. It's these. This is very coupled to the dollar, so it's the same thing as with equities right now. Is this bet that the tapering is coming, or the cutting of rates and the pivot is coming? Bitcoin will move most likely exactly the same way. It will break its highs if we start to see the pivot this year.
No, I very much doubt that. I don't think Bitcoin's ever going back to its highs. That was a bubble that popped severely. If that's your belief,
it's not my belief.
If that's the way your train of thoughts, I would think that ETFs or NFTs are also going back to where they were.
No.
Where you can buy $20,000 for a monkey.
No. The difference with the Bitcoin is everything else that runs off Bitcoin.
No, I still very much doubt it. I don't think we're seeing close to where we were before. I think we'll come back to like more stability with Bitcoin, but I don't think we're seeing like any rallies like we did before ever again on Bitcoin.
I mean,
we got it here on the podcast, guys. Bet 100 Rand Bitcoin will reach its high again.
When?
$100.
Maybe
how many decades are you giving this?
24 months.
I'll bet you 100 Rand.
24 months.
There you guys see
24 months,
picture.
2 years.
There's a live picture.
There we go.
I'm the witness. 24 months.
Yeah.
24 months. Going back to 70,000.
56.
No, the high was about 70,000.
What was the high?
The high was 68 actually.
Okay, 68. Sure.
69. Sort of.
Sure. Yeah, I'll say that.
You better get some money somewhere to push this thing up.
It's gonna need some strong fundamental reasons to go back up there. Right?
Bitcoin has no fundamental reasons.
Okay. Well, it needs some momentum to go up there. At this point, it's still far-fetched. I like to follow structure bit by bit.
Okay, follow the structure on the monthly chart and see what it says.
The structure, this is just a huge retracement. Right?
How long did it take it to come down from 70?
It took what?
Took a year.
What, 14 months?
Yeah, it was when they started talking about interest rates, inflation, and everything else. That's what caused all this.
So my view is Bitcoin is going to rally up to this area, and then from there we'll see. That's my view. To that area. How long will this take? Nobody knows. But even if it can take slow, but I think there.
It just needs to take longer than 24 months.
So that's my target. There.
2 years. It's going to be such a long bet for $100.
Hey, maybe it hits the top before then, maybe Bitcoin dies. You never know.
The latter is more possible than the former.
The thing is, Bitcoin is the, like...
Please don't tell me it's the future.
It's not the future. I have been spending a lot more time because I have clients now that are very interested in crypto, in looking at the crypto market.
Are they still buying the dip?
Yes. Yes, they've been buying the dip since 36,000.
So
I feel sorry for them, but they've been buying it. But I also had a lot of doubt and so on and so forth. But if you go look at what Bitcoin is within the crypto world, it's the granddaddy.
Quickly,
of crypto.
can you pull up the tulip chart for me?
We're bringing this up again.
Which chart are we pulling?
Oh, that looks very similar.
Yes, but at the same time...
No, you can't pull up Amazon. Like, Amazon has value.
Same.
But different. Like, there's more value to tulips than there are to Bitcoin.
Bets are placed.
All right. So viewers saw it. Let's go back. Viewers, so you guys bet 24-month period, going back to 70.
I say, he says no.
He says no.
It's not even close.
Yeah, that 70 is far fetched.
If it does reach
What was the previous run-up?
if it does reach 35, I would consider that a win.
Even disregarding the previous, take that first spike, that first move to the upside. No, the first one. From that previous peak right up. Yeah, so how many months was that?
Let's see, roughly this was 12 months.
Still a year.
So 24 months, 2 years.
Alright guys, Bitcoin is going back to 30,000.
Yeah, I can't see it higher than that.
30. Then we'll look at structure, we'll look at how it forms, right? Because structure tells you a lot. So there's my take. I'm not going to place any bets. There's my take. There's my take. Yeah. So yeah, Bitcoin. Let's see what will happen there. This is a weekly chart. We'll see how this week closes. It looks like it's going to close very strong. And yeah.
Very interested to see how Japanese yen is also going to be performing this year with all the stuff happening with the dollar.
Well, it's been gaining a lot of strength like over the last couple of months.
Yeah.
Gaining a lot of strength over the last couple of months, so it's good to see. There was also some talks about the yen and Japan actually increasing interest rates. First time in many a decade. They're actually thinking about going to getting out of that negative interest rate scenario. So that's going to be very interesting to see.
Yeah, this move. I'm looking at the USD yen right now. This push to the downside is very aggressive. So we'll see how it moves.
Can we talk about the disappointment chart for myself for the latter part of this year?
Your natural gas. Yeah, I told you yesterday that a little bit of thing I read up about. Basically, China is only purchasing contractual gas right now.
How?
China is only purchasing contract-based supply right now of natural gas. They are not paying spot. So that means there is a predetermined price for them. That price cannot go up, that price cannot go down for a period of time. And they do not care if they run out of gas or if they have too much or whatever the case may be. They are not going outside of the boundaries of this contract. And I suspect that this is what's happening here. And the same thing I think for Europe is they are purchasing gas from Russia. If the states like it or not, or if they know it or not, or if the European government is hiding it from their citizens or not, nobody knows. But there is no way, absolutely no way that that's the price of natural gas if Europe is not getting it from Russia.
Yeah, we're sitting in the highest demand time of the year, and it's sitting at $3.
Less than what we even started
It's
Yeah.
below the war price.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Sure.
Like I do not know what's going on at the moment. Okay, well, sort of.
That's
Julian
the big
gave
basis that
Julian gave perspective to it, but like it still does not make sense to me.
Yeah.
Because I was expecting this thing to start flying come December.
So the thing is, on these contracts, the price of natural gas is coupled to the price of oil, and with the decline in the oil price we've been seeing, that plays through on this, and we've got so many big refineries coming back online right now that it's sort of putting stability back into supply and demand, and that all influences this drop that's not supposed to be a drop. And look at that gap. That's a whole, what is that? A whole, how many pips is that? How many points move is that?
242.
It's like $2.40. Jeez.
Gap once, just like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, I wasn't watching this chart, but looking at it now, yeah, I don't know what to say. Don't know what to say. Nah, but look, it's okay. This is the markets, we're looking for the highest probability scenario, Yeah.
But on a fundamental basis, I mean,
It was
what we
it
were
was
discussing
spot on,
throughout the whole last year should have played
Spot
out.
on, yeah.
Should have played out. But it is what it is. Can't be right always.
Yeah, no, we'll find another charts for you guys for this year. Right. I mean, this one was the one for last year.
I do still feel like we can see somewhere around here now, see a little bit of a push to the upside.
Like retracement up to those levels.
Yes, yeah, I think so. Maybe right now wouldn't be a bad time to look at scaling in on some longs. Obviously, always keep your analysis in mind and everything else. But that's a very big same thing like with gold. We need to see a little bit of that exhaustion come in, a little bit of that retracement come in, and I don't really think it can get cheaper than this. Like that's crazy.
Depends what time China is selling it for.
That's also true.
Yeah, no, we'll look for a chart for the
Because
year.
that actually could make sense. That China's relaying the gas back to Europe from Russia, and they're having the Europeans pay them in yuan. Interesting.
Yeah, things to look at. Yeah.
Conspiracy theory. We should do a podcast on trading conspiracy theories.
Yes, the gold market is manipulated. JP Morgan.
By the Illuminati that's owned by
Yes.
George Soros.
JP Morgan trading desk strikes again.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So we've gone through the charts, a lot of talking points, and yeah, then
Red versus blue.
all right. You guys know what that means? Anybody?
Baby blue.
Yeah. This weekend. Yeah.
Ready to get destroyed, or
I want to see Pep like being humbled.
He was humble.
No, well, they were knocked out. They were
Carabao.
knocked out in the Carabao Cup
Yeah.
in the quarters against Southampton.
Southampton. 2-0.
Southampton.
2-1 or 2.
they're not that bad.
They are. Like they're not even. Where are they in the championship?
Bottom of the no, they're in the Premier League.
Are they
bottom.
Southampton Premier League?
Yeah.
I thought they got relegated.
No, not yet, but they're sitting bottom
Not
of the
yet.
league. They changed the coach recently, so it's a new coach. And yeah, I think we can add to the misery. Hey, that's a very serious allegation.
They used to be good when Danny Ings was still there.
Danny Ings, or the one they sold to Aston Villa.
Yeah. Playing
Yeah.
at Villa now. I saw Everton wants to buy Danny Ings as well.
Yeah, I mean he's a poacher, he's a goal poacher, right? He's a traditional number 9.
Yeah, he scored goals at Southampton though.
Traditional number 9, right? Yeah, so this weekend, Man City, Man United, the derby on a Saturday tomorrow. Yeah, 2:30, I think.
Yeah.
Man City 2-1. It's my prediction.
I think it's going to be an upset. It's at Old Trafford.
Oh, okay. It's,
At Old Trafford. I'm thinking 7-0 United. Seeing Rashford bolt in 5. Rashford bolt in 5.
Yeah,
And then
Garnacho maybe 1.
being substituted and Weghorst scoring 2.
The new player.
I don't even know if he's on board yet. He's due for medicals.
Yeah, we don't have confirmation yet, but everything should be completed.
Has Ronaldo been sold yet?
He's
Ronaldo's
Is he
earning
now in
Ronaldo's
Arabia
earning
or-
$200 million a year playing for Saudi Arabia per season.
So there's a team in Saudi Arabia that wants to buy Messi
Yeah, I
and pay
saw.
him double.
But to be honest with you, there's this clause in Ronaldo's contract that, given him being there, he has to be an ambassador for Saudi Arabia to get the 2030
The
World
next
Cup.
World Cup or 2030, next 2 World Cups. Okay.
Yeah. So he needs to be an ambassador now for Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Money talks, man.
Money talks, my man.
It's
Money
$200,000.
talks.
Yeah, money.
It's like that's rand value. How much?
Yeah,
I don't even
no.
think it's.
It's Zuma money.
It's
you
like
know.
3.4 billion.
Yeah, that is. Let's quickly do.
I think it's 3.4 billion.
Yeah. You know, I don't want to look at the amount. I might slip and be Zuma.
200,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't even read that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost about 3.4. It's 3.37 billion.
Billion per season.
Come on now. Come on. Come on. Come
That's
on.
like a.
Come on.
That's like me retiring.
I mean,
I
Just,
mean, I
just
swear
wanna
I could
just for
eat
reference, right?
at the
You-
Michelangelo and stay there every
you-
day for the rest of my life and not
You
spend
typed
this
in
money.
200,000, not even million.
Is he getting million?
Million. Another 3 zeros.
No, man.
it's million.
No.
$200 million a year.
What kind of time are we living in that we're paying guys that run around after a ball $200 million a year?
He's worked hard for it.
Mm.
He is a legend. We
Yeah.
spoke about this before. Like to consider, like from where Ronaldo's come to where he's at. Like there's, it's as much as someone can say these things about it, and it's to be fair, like it is the case. Like someone runs around a ball with a ball and they get paid this much. There's value to that,
Yeah.
and he's worked hard for it. It's not someone
Yeah.
that just sat around.
Yeah. He deserves it, man.
Yeah,
He
to be
deserves
honest,
it.
like he deserves it.
And Messi also deserves that kind of deal, you know.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I hope Messi's one would be 300, just to
Oh, well, he just said they want to pay him double.
really.
Yeah, they say double. Maybe it might be 375. I'm not sure.
I don't care. After Ronaldo's discretions at the Devils, I would want someone to be above him.
Sure. Yeah, no. That's history. It's about to be made. Who else? History's made.
Well, history is going to be made because 21 is coming.
21.
Yeah. Premier League, man.
Yeah.
21. We're on 20 titles so far. We need 21.
Oh, now I get you. Yeah, I'm not going for it. Going for it. Yeah. No. Yeah, the sports. I'll be watching that tomorrow. Is there any other sports than rugby to this weekend?
It should be rugby this weekend as well. Can we please not talk about cricket because the Proteas are getting dismantled all over the place?
Nice last minute replacement for UFC 67. Sean Strickland's main event. It's going to be a good fight. Anybody that watches fighting.
Yeah.
Rugby.
I say United Rugby Championships. Yeah.
No upcoming.
Friday. It's on the 27th of Jan.
Yeah, so there's nothing up until the 27th on the rugby side.
Yeah.
But from there on, it looks starting it off with the Bulls game and the Scarlets, Oyster and the Stormers. I quite like this international championship.
It's like the rugby, like the Champions League of rugby now.
That's pretty nice. It's
Goes
pretty
down.
nice. But yeah, I don't watch rugby anymore. I don't drink brandy anymore, so I don't watch rugby anymore.
Yeah, so I think
Yes, sir.
look
Yeah.
ahead for next week.
Mhm.
Not much coming up.
Yeah, no, not much events coming up next week. So, but yeah, always on the charts, you know, Bitcoin, gold. That's what you touched on with more things. But yeah.
Ambitious for Bitcoin, solid for gold.
Mm.
Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. First podcast of 2023. And yeah, we'll be back again and again and again and again.
Until December.
Yes, sir. This is the second season. Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should be upping our game a bit.
100%.
Have more guests in.
Mm-hmm.
And I think make things a little bit more exciting for everyone.
Yeah, we've got things on the pipeline, right? Just gonna execute. Yeah.
Guys, from myself and the team, thanks for joining us. First podcast of the year, and we can't wait to take you guys through the rest of the year and see where it goes.
Yeah.
Cool.
Right.
Cheers, everyone.
guys. Enjoy your weekend.